Welcome back, everybody. This is Wam Kim, School of Finance, Sungshin University, Seoul, Korea. This is the third lecture for Texas Instruments PA2 Plus Financial Calculator Manual lecture. This time we are going to discuss actual calculations of time value money. I'd like to define the concept full components problems, which means if you're looking at the financial calculator third row from the top, we have 5 keys from N, I/Y, present value, future payments, and the future value. Most questions are associated with using 4 keys among those 5. I'd like to define this particular type of question as full components problem. For instance, for the compounding problem, you see from this top of the slides, we have in this case n is 5 and the periodic rate is 5%. And given the present value, we are finding difference of future value based on what is the point of time you would like to withdraw this money. It can be 1 year later, can be 2 years later, and etc. etc. Rather than using specific periods such as day, week, month, or a quarter or half a year or year, I like to simply say this is number of period or point of time. So based on our language, we like to describe as number of period, okay, and then periodic rate, I/Y. So most of the questions we have N and I/Y are given. In other words, number of periods and periodic rates are given. And also one of 2, such as present value and the future value, should be given. In this case, we have a present value of minus 100. We are using minus signs because to indicate this is deposit, which means cash outflow. And then the one missing part of a full component is a future value. So we are finding future value out of a present value, number of periods, and periodic rates. So this particular type of question we call a compounding problem. So from the formula in the middles, if you have a periodic rates, okay, SSY, the number of period, this case is 1 period, and you have present value, and then you should be able to find out the future value at t equal 1. And if we are looking for a future value at end of second period, which is t equal 2, like here, okay, then you need to have periodic rates, I/Y, and number of period, which is 2, in this example, the present value, and you should be able to find out the future value. Okay, so this type of questions is called compounding problem. Okay, from the calculator, we have number of period, I/Y, periodic rate, and the present value, and then we want to find the future value. So let's use one example above and then see if we can calculate those numbers. Let's take a look at the 1 period problem. And we want to use PA2 Plus calculator to calculate the future value at the 1 period. So to do that, I always remind you to clear time value money, which is also the second function we can use, shown on above that button, future value key. So right here, clear time value money. So to perform clear time value money, second function, we need to press second key followed by future value. So you didn't see anything on the screen, but what calculator is doing, clearing all the numbers remembered or memorized on those 5 keys on the calculator. Now you're all set to do any calculation. Back to our example here. Okay, we want to calculate the future value at the end of the year 1. So from the left-hand side to the right, enter 1, because 1 period, and the periodic rate is 5%. Okay, the 1 and percent I/Y, present value, negative 100. Since there's no payment, we simply skip that button and go to the future value. As you can see, you can find 5.4 zeros after decimal. What about the end of year 5? Okay, One thing you can do, you can clear time value money and then enter all those given elements. Or since we remember what all those numbers are beside the ands, you can simply add a new and to end key. So you enter it, I/y, you should have 5%, okay? Present value is 100. Define the future value, 127.6282. Due to rounding, okay, you have a little bit of difference from the number you see on the slide and the number shown on the calculator. But I don't think you have any problem of calculating those future values from this timeline. Okay, now take a look at the discounting part. Compared to compounding, discounting is a slightly different because it's finding present value rather than future value. Compounding means given present value, you need to find the future value. Meanwhile, discounting indicating finding present value given future value. Okay, that the future value is given. So it's shown as a positive, usually in the letter indicating the positive means of withdrawal, you're receiving money. Then you're going to make a deposit at T equal 1 or T equal 3 or T equal. And we have an N, okay, and the period is 5%. And the formula for the discounting is straightforward and is nothing but rearrangement of formula for compounding, dividing the formula to compounding divided by future value. Probably you can get an easier understanding of how you generate the formula for discounting. Again, you have a future value and then period rates and number of periods. Okay, then you find the present value. Again, let me go ahead and use this diagram or timeline to see if we can calculate all those present values shown on this timeline. Let me go ahead and start with the period one period question. So simply discounting one period. Okay, so which means from 5 to 4. Okay, go to the calculator. Again, you need to clear time value money by pressing second followed by future value key. Okay, you're now all set to start a new question. So n is 1 because you are looking at the one period questions. Okay, so n is 1 for this particular problem. Okay, so n is changing depending on situation and depending on questions. So n is 1 and the 5% periodic rate. So as you can see at the top of that slide or screens, it's showing the triangle pointing to the left, so which means this 0.0000 was entered. Okay, the present value, that's what you are looking for and you are solving for. So you cannot enter any number. You don't have any payments, so no payments. Then future value is 127.63. Enter as a past number because indicating withdrawal. So by hitting compute followed by present value, you got the right number. 121.55. So there is a typo on this answer. It's not 12.5. It should be 21.5. Okay, it doesn't make sense. What about the PV3? Okay, so now instead of n is 1, n is 2. So go to the calculator, enter n is 2. You can enter all other number again, but we know all other numbers are same and simply change n from 1 to 2. The compute present value 115.76, which is exactly this number. So now we don't have any problem of finding present value from given n, periodic rates, and the future value, which is nothing but discounting. Okay,